gives me a perspective of how the industry is perceiving the development of AI and its users.
Right.
So it opens up further thoughts in us on, in terms of compliance, what challenges are coming up.
Is India ready for AI adoption, responsible AI adoption at scale? Do you think so that organizations are still looking at DPDPA more than a policy, more like a cultural shift?
But in terms of regulatory facility, the question comes whether India has a legislation to address responsible AI, let us say. If not, do we require a new act, whether it is Digital India Act or something to come?
Correct.
Okay. Or whether our current laws can be interpreted to at least serve the purpose today.
Right.
We can always improve upon it.
Right.
My view has always been that currently the Indian law, even without DPDPA going only to Information Technology Act, it clearly addresses responsibilities of use of an AI.
Correct.
And attributes it to the owner of that system.
Welcome to Digital Native Nexus 2025, brought to you by the Mainstream, presented by Brio Technologies and Google Cloud. I am Simran Shiwalkar, your host for today, and we are in Bengaluru witnessing the latest chapter of this summit. I'm truly honored to share the space with a true visionary leader, Vijay Shankar Nagaraj Rao. Sir, firstly, thank you so much for joining us. Shri Vijay Shankar Nagaraj Rao, he is the leader for data governance and DPDPA auditor, along with being a chairperson for FDPPI. Thank you so much for joining us in this summit. And that being said, let's also lead with your experience. Can you tell us a bit about how this platform has been, kind of shaping up some conversations, and how has it been so far?
See, the day has, whatever we have completed so far has gone on nicely with a lot of industry leaders sharing a lot of use cases. That is the beauty of the whole thing. That is live examples of how AI is being used by them, and that is a rich experience they are sharing.
Correct.
And it will help everybody else to learn, and people like us who are actually in slightly, say, different frame, because we are into compliance related to either AI usage or whatever is that. Unlike some of the other people who are there who are actually users of AI, and the experience shared by some about how they have used AI will help them directly.
Right.
But even I am finding it very educative in the sense that it gives me a perspective of how the industry is perceiving the development of AI and its users.
Right.
So it opens up further thoughts in us on, in terms of compliance, what challenges are coming up. That is
Right.
what I would take off from an interaction like this.
Absolutely. And that being said, for somebody who has been leading the the DPDPA Act, and today when we talk about businesses and digital native businesses where everything is happening so rapidly, with that context, I want to understand from you, how can organizations balance speed and accountability, especially with regulations like DPDPA?
See, regulations like DPDPA are something which the organizations need to respect and incorporate in their business strategies.
Correct.
See, so far we had in India the legislation Information Technology Act, which was applicable to all the IT companies, but that was slightly different. See, there, when a damage occurs in the society, somebody comes up with a complaint, then only people would look at what impact it has on the company. Where we say that the cause of action has to be there before any liabilities arise under Information Technology Act.
Right.
There has to be a crime, there has to be a person who has suffered, he has to go to the police, and then only the company will wake up and say what I have done correctly or not. But DPDPA as a regulation is different because it works on compliance. That is,
Correct.
Even before any data breach happens, an organization is expected to maintain a compliance level.
Right.
If not, they may face penalties.
Correct.
Whether or not there is a breach or not. Therefore, the companies cannot be complacent and say, let things happen, then we'll see.
Right.
Because even if when nothing has happened, then they may be asked to pay a penalty of say 10 crores, 20 crores.
Right.
This has to sink into the company because this is a compliance oriented regulation. So proactive action is required by the companies. Now, when you talk of speed in execution is one of the business objectives. But apart from speed, there has to be accuracy in the activity and efficiency in the activity. So
Correct.
when we talk of AI, we don't necessarily see only the speed. Speed is definitely there. But you cannot sacrifice accuracy of in business decisions, and perhaps if you neglect that, you may do it quickly but do it badly. That cannot happen.
Okay.
So AI has to be seen as a tool with which you still have to be responsible.
Right.
What is that responsibility? Responsibility is to your business. Now, suppose you are a company which is processing personal data for a particular purpose. Whether you use AI or not, your responsibility remains there.
Correct.
So when we talk of responsible use of AI, most of the time we are constricted to only this AI system. But what I would like companies to realize is AI is a tool with which you are performing some responsibilities. Whether that responsibility is being done properly or not is what you have to focus.
Right.
See, if this is the case of all what we call as AI deployers. That is the people who use AI.
Correct.
They are the persons who will be called data fiduciaries under our Act. Most of the time we discuss about the responsibilities of the AI developers. So when we say ethical AI, responsible AI, transparent AI, we are only looking at the developer and say this is what he is supposed to do. Okay.
Right.
Now DPDPA actually does not address this requirement directly because it is not a AI regulatory act. It is not even, say, for any software, it doesn't tell the software developer what he should do.
Correct.
It only tells the user of the software that whether he uses software or does things manually, it is immaterial.
Right.
Okay. He has to achieve certain objectives.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So if I have to send privacy notices, if I want, I can do it manually. I can write it manually and send out emails myself. It is acceptable under DPDPA.
Correct.
Now it is for your convenience that you are automating that. Okay. So that is your decision. Now if you are a data fiduciary and you take a decision to automate and in a particular way, like using a AI tool, it is your decision. Okay. So what the law will say is, I will not tell you what kind of technology you should use, what kind of, whether you should use AI, not this thing, I will not tell you. But if things go wrong, then I will ask you, why did it go wrong?
Correct. That is when you are...
So that is why you are called a fiduciary.
Correct.
It is you who have to decide whether the tool which you are using or the method means of processing which you are adopting, is it right for the context?
Correct.
I will not tell you. Okay, so that concept of a data fiduciary makes our law totally different from GDPR and other things.
Right.
Okay. In GDPR, we can put more responsibility on the data subject and tell him that this is what I asked for permission, you gave me the permission, therefore you are responsible for your decision. Whereas here, if I am the trustee or the fiduciary, I cannot say that whatever permission you have given, entirely you are responsible. It is my responsibility to be transparent. So this transparency and other things gets embedded in this data fiduciary concept.
Correct.
Okay. I have to be transparent in asking permission. I have to tell you why I am wanting a particular piece of data and how I am going to use it.
Correct.
If I don't use it and I use a dark pattern strategy and try to mislead you, the blame will be entirely on me.
Right.
The data principal may say, I did not understand actually, I thought it was something else. They took the permission and used it for something some other purpose. So the entire responsibility for privacy protection of a data principal lies with the data fiduciary.
Right.
Now in the case of AI, one more angle comes. Most of the time when a AI deployer uses AI, he really does not know about the actual functioning of the AI. the so-called responsible AI, transparent AI, explainability, and lack of, say, bias, lack of, let us say, ability to go rogue or something like that, all that has to be controlled by the developer.
Correct.
So I will only perhaps ask him an undertaking, what we call as conformity assessment in EU AI Act. Okay. I will ask him, give me a declaration that your software is good. But I am going to tell you in which context I am using your software.
Correct.
This, when a person buys an AI, he should first of all declare what is the context in which he is going to use your software.
Right.
And you as a developer knows that in this context, how will my software function.
Right.
And for that you have to give me a conformity assessment.
Correct.
See, if I am going to use it for a non-personal data, then only efficiency in the processing is sufficient.
Right.
But when I am processing it for personal data, then the question of consent comes in. Now, if you are going to make use of my customer's personal data for something else, then you should have permission for
Correct.
that. Okay. Then if the data is sensitive personal data, then you need to look at it differently. So the context disclosure has to be there from the deployer.
Right.
And the other person, based on this context, he has to give an assurance.
Right.
That will be the contract between the two, which will also have indemnity and other things. But beyond that indemnity and other things, declaration of the purpose for which I am using the AI and the other person understanding the purpose and thereafter giving an undertaking that yes, my system is good enough for you. If at all necessary, these are the precautions you have to take.
Right, right.
That system has to come in India, and we are suggesting that as part of the compliance recommendation.
Correct.
Say, law will not go beyond what has already been done. Rest of it now is for the experts to say how the law is to be implemented.
Correct.
So we have a framework for compliance called DGPSI.
Correct.
Data Governance and Protection Standard of India, one of the kind in the world, okay, for DPDPA compliance. In that we are carving out a special guideline for AI, okay. And in that we are going to incorporate these things. Like you have to tell the supplier what for you are using the AI, and then ask him, for this context, what are the precautions I suggest you take.
Correct.
Okay, and if he takes all that, that becomes somewhat like the reasonable security practice. What is reasonable gets defined here with the exchange of information between the deployer and the vendor of the AI. So these are thoughts which are not there even in EU AI Act and other things which we are trying to bring in here. So speed is not the only reason for automation.
Right.
Efficiency has to be there.
Right.
And when it is personal data, it has to go into compliance also.
Absolutely, and I think that would give us a glimpse of how, a culture which is centered around compliance would look like in a world which is so data driven, organizations which are, building up on data. Thank you so much for, throwing light on that, sir. Next, is India ready for AI adoption, responsible AI adoption at scale? Do you think so that organizations are still looking at DPDPA more than a policy, more like a cultural shift?
India will never be ready for anything.
That is, of course, debatable.
So we will take our own time.
Right.
And many people are saying, let me see who will get the first fine or something like that.
Correct.
Okay. So that is a normal tendency. But in terms of regulatory facility, the question comes whether India has a legislation to address responsible AI, let us say. If not, do we require a new act, whether it is Digital India Act or something to come?
Correct.
Okay. Or whether our current laws can be interpreted to at least serve the purpose today.
Right.
We can always improve upon it.
Right.
My view has always been that currently the Indian law, even without DPDPA going only to Information Technology Act, it clearly addresses responsibilities of use of an AI.
Correct.
And attributes it to the owner of that system.
Correct.
For example, if I am the user of AI, I am responsible for what it does. If it does things badly, then I am responsible. So Information Technology Act has a section for attribution of the, let's say, the effect of an automated system's decisions to the person who caused that automated software to function.
Right.
Basically, that is the person who deploys it. That is the deployer is a responsible person, and by contract he can try to get assurances from the supplier of the software. Okay. If it is an open source software, then he may have the ability to do audit, code audit of the software, otherwise he will not have that. So Information Technology Act has this, what we can call as vicarious liability. That is, the responsibility for the functioning of the software is attributed to some human being. So this human being responsible for the activities of a software is already embedded in our current Information Technology Act.
Right.
It is somewhere hidden there on section 11. Nobody has recognized that. So I say that for AI today I can invoke that. Okay. Now what is AI and other things, definition is a matter of detailing. Here I am talking of any automated processing which applies to all software. The attribution is to the owner.
Right.
So that way we are ready.